She's the author of 4 books, including Saskatchewan Superwomen and the former professor of psychology at the University of Saskatchewan. This is the Empower Women Show with Jane Trimble, the show that elevates and empowers women in the community by sharing their story and showcasing their business. With me in the studio today is Dr. Vera Pezer, author of Saskatchewan Superwomen. Welcome, Vera.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show today.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah, so where are you from? Let's go right back to where it started. Where are you from?
Originally, I grew up in a community called Maskinaw, which was near Melfort.
Okay.
And so it was a small community and lots of opportunities. And from there, I came to Saskatoon to the university, and I just stayed here.
Yeah, fantastic. And then you went to the university and then became a professor at the university.
I did. And the latter part of my career was in administration, where I was in charge of student services.
Okay, cool. And you were professor of psychology, correct?
Yes.
Yes. How was that?
It was fine. I taught it, so. And I still run into students who say, and they look quite old now.
Yeah.
And they say, you taught me. And I said, well, I'm glad you survived, because, so, yeah.
Yeah, very cool. I'm sure you met a lot of wonderful people along the way.
Yeah, and the university was a wonderful place to work at that period. It still is, but it was a good environment for me.
Yeah. I love it. And you are the author of 4 books, including Saskatchewan Superwomen, which you have with you today. Do you want to just hold it up so this camera can see it? There we go. Amazing. And I wanted to have you on the show, obviously, because this is the Empower Women show, and I wanted to hear about the amazing women that are in your book. So why don't you tell me about the story of how this book came to be?
Well, like most people, in 2020, I was isolated with COVID. Mm-hmm. And for Christmas that year, I got a gift book that was written by Hillary and Chelsea Clinton about American women. And it was quite good. And I was reading it, and I'm thinking, what about Saskatchewan women? Yes. So that was the germ. And because, like most people, I was isolated, I needed a project so I didn't go crazy, So, so I began to put this together and developed an outline, developed a draft, and as I did that, I realized there were quite a number of women I wanted to write about that I knew, but there were also, what I found out was that there were others who made significant contributions that I hadn't known. So what I did was I developed a plan, and so to be included in this book, a woman had to, she had to have done something significant, particularly if it was in a field dominated by men. And so those became the definition for who I included. And I realized that it was never my intention to be inclusive. Because I would miss somebody. And so this is really a sample of women that have been put into 5 different chapters. So the first chapter is on public service, and so there are MLAs, MPs, judges, people in honorary position, and volunteers. Then there's a chapter on teaching and education. Third one on sport. Fourth one had to do with the arts. And then I had a combination of stories that I just felt I had to include, but they didn't fit anywhere. So this last chapter was just compelling stories of women. And so that's how it came to be. It really was a COVID project that kind of kept me going for 2 or 3 years.
Fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
What compels you to write about amazing women and the need to share their story?
Yeah. Well, as I got in, first of all, it was a Hillary Clinton book that caused me to think about Saskatchewan women. And I realized just from living here my whole life that I knew there were a lot of women who had done significant things. And if I knew a number of them, that meant I knew an awful lot more that I didn't know about that probably deserved to have their stories told.
Wow, I love it. Yeah. So cool.
Yeah.
What are some of the special stories at the end? I want to hear about all of them, but you said the last chapter is dedicated to stories that just didn't fit the mold to the rest of the book. What are some of those?
Well, there was the women I didn't know, I felt I got to know.
Yes.
So one was a woman by the name of Bamford Fletcher, and she was from Regina.
Yeah.
And when World War II broke out, she was with the Regina leader post. She paid her way to England, and she got a job in England during the war, driving for Polish troops who had been stationed in Britain, who had escaped from Europe. And somehow she caught the attention of an organization that Winston Churchill had actually created. So when the war was ending in Europe in 1944, she got handpicked to go to Indonesia. And so her job, she was by herself. There were no Allied troops there. There were Japanese there, but by then they knew they were losing, so they weren't very motivated anymore. And the biggest danger was really guerrillas who hated anybody because they'd been mistreated for so long. Her job was to rescue 2,000 prisoners and take them about 400 kilometers from a prisoner of camp war down to a site on the ocean so they could be rescued. And these were mostly women and children and Dutch.
Wow.
And she thought, how am I going to do that? She actually talked the Japanese, general into giving her 20 vehicles, 40 troops, a translator, and he helped her. She had no other resource. And they had all kinds of adventures, but you know what? She made it, and she rescued all these women.
Wow.
And she got, and this is a woman from Saskatchewan,
I know,
for
Regina.
heaven's sake.
I know.
So by the end of, I found this story online. I didn't know her.
Right.
And I remember to this day, it was a cold January night, it was a Sunday, and I'm reading this story about her online, and I don't trust very much stuff online. So I thought, I've got to double check this. Sure enough, she's written in the Canadian War Museum. So once I had that reference, then I knew I had an accurate story.
Wow.
So she got all kinds of awards from the British for her rescue work. At the end of the war, she did not come back to Canada. She stayed with the British, and she ended up spying with them in Poland. And then in 1950s, when the Russians were coming in, she just got out of Poland with hours to spare.
Wow.
She was back in England, and then she ended up her last few years of her life back in Canada. So she was a favorite. That was somebody I
Absolutely.
got to know.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then there was the first female physician in the Northwest Territories. We're talking 1890s now. And her husband was an Anglican minister. They got posted to Onion Lake, which was very, very remote. Saskatchewan wasn't even a province then.
Wow.
She got a medical degree, but she could never get licensed because she was a woman. She went back and completed a medical degree in Manitoba, and the dean was not going to give her her degree because she was a woman. And so finally her husband got fed up, and the students came on her side, and she ended up getting a second medical degree, but she worked for 28 years at Onion Lake. And unlike some of the stories that we hear about how terrible, schools were and how they mistreated, she and her husband, the evidence I have is they were not like that. They were caring. If, it was a very well-run place. It was very compassionate, because she was. And so she was another favorite of mine.
Wow, these are incredible stories.
Yeah.
Why do you think they're not told as much? Why do we not remember these people more?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I'm doing my little bit.
You are doing
But I think women's accomplishments have been slow to be recognized.
Yes.
And so, I mean, if these had been men, they'd have gotten awards all over the place.
Medals.
And, Elizabeth Scott Matheson, the doctor, she ended up getting an honorary degree from the University of Toronto just because of her work in northern Saskatchewan.
Wow.
And the University of Saskatchewan did not yet have a College of Medicine, or she might have got one here too. But to answer your question, I just think women have been underestimated for decades.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
Wow, it's why I started this show, the Empower Women show. I want women like yourself to come on the show and share your story.
Yeah.
There are so many, I mean, there's amazing men out there too, but I think you're right. There's something about the woman's story, the woman's voice that has had to be repressed over the years, but now it doesn't need to be.
And the main theme in this book is that the women that are in here persisted because even though there were handicaps, they did not give up.
Yes.
I mean, there was a woman by the name of Grucci. She became the first Saskatchewan, maybe in Canada, woman to graduate with a theology degree. And she wasn't ordained for 13 years because she was a woman. And there were stories like it was an all-male group that adjudicated these applications, and they'd say, well, no other women are interested, or she's far too delicate, or she's too this or too that. And so she was just denied.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
It's awful.
Awful, yeah. Did you have that experience personally growing up in Saskatchewan, and has it changed over the years?
I think it's changed over years, and in many respects it was better for me because I grew up in a small town, and because it was a small town, when it came to sport or school or anything, there was much less gender discrimination because I was in a small school, and so if we had a softball team, you could be a girl or a boy and be on the softball team.
They just needed people.
Yeah. And by the time I got to university, there's no question that there were still kind of stereotypes lingering. Like the first schools in the University of Saskatchewan were like home economics, nursing, education, and yet there's a little bit about Sylvia Fedoric in this book because she was a medical physicist. So did she break new ground? Yes, she did. And so I think there's, the main message here is that this is a story of successful women who persevered, whatever the issues were.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. What is the through thread with all of these women? Is there something consistent there? Obviously, resilience is something that's clearly something all of them had, but is there another through thread that you noticed?
Yeah. Well, one of the threads I noticed is it didn't matter what topic I was dealing with, the discrimination tended to be the same, whether teachers were treated terribly in the early days here. Female teachers were. They earned way less than men. If they got married, they had to quit teaching, so there was a lot of, it didn't matter what area I looked at, there was, I found the same kind of discrimination. And so that was a revelation to me because there were areas like, I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to the fine arts, but when I got into that, I found out it was there too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was a main thing. I was happy to explore, and I was happy to expose it.
Expose it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one thing that it's there and another thing to actually define and speak about it as well. I think so much of this was happening and there was no awareness around it, whereas there's a lot more awareness now, isn't there?
Oh, very much. And that's part of what's causing change too.
Yeah.
And you asked me, did I run into discrimination? Certainly it wasn't as severe. I think it was still there. Like I was turned down for an appointment at the university and a guy got it who was less qualified than me, and I was upset for a long time, and eventually I got the position anyway. And so it was happening, but it wasn't so overt. Like nobody ever said to me, you're too weak to do this, or you're taking the job from a man. The first female principal, high school principal in Saskatoon, we're talking 1980s.
Oh my goodness.
She was told that she was taking a job from a man who needed to support his family. We're talking 1980s.
I know, so recent.
Yeah.
Wild. Now, I know if people Google your name online, they can find out more about you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and what keeps you busy now, like these days? I know you were mentioning another book idea, maybe in the works.
Age is a stage.
Yes, Age is a stage. I look forward to hearing that. But yeah, I'm sure you're actively involved in the public as well, aren't you?
Not so much. I'm not on Saskatoon boards or that anymore.
Okay.
I'm still involved on campus. I have
Yeah.
committees and responsibilities there, so just enough to keep me busy.
Yes, exactly. And if people see you, they should come and say hi.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you for coming on the show today.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
It was my pleasure.
Yes. Until next time. Queens
Belong on thrones.
Let's put them
there.
Yes. The Empower Women Show merch available at theempowerwomenshow.ca.